You've heard the phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So when trying to put a value on real estate, does the same hold true? Yes and no. When selling a property, how do you price the property? When making an offer, how do you know what to offer? Well, we define value in 5 different ways: assessed value, market value, appraised value, comparative market analysis, or CMA, and then there's the automated valuation model, or AVM, used on websites like Zillow. They market that value model as a Zestimate. Each definition of value serves a specific purpose and is arrived at by a different method. The dollar value of the property will often be different for each purpose, and people often confuse them. That confusion can kill the sale of a property if a buyer, seller, or both doesn't understand the difference between the valuation methods. In the next 5 segments, I look at each of these valuation methods and zero in on the uses for each method, starting with assessed value, meaning the valuation for the purpose of collecting tax on a property. Every city or county assesses the value of real estate within its boundaries in order to collect taxes on those properties. These taxes are often the primary source of funding for those cities and counties. Every home that's sold is evaluated by a limited criteria such as square footage of the home and lot size, among other general criteria. So let me stress here, property assessments are always looking back in time, sometimes as much as a year. The city assessor does not enter each home to get a value, so the city assessor's office does not see cosmetic upgrades such as new appliances or granite countertops. If there was a building permit to improve the property, such as adding an addition, then the assessor's office figures that into the value calculations. These sold figures establish the base values for all other homes in the same area. So how are taxes calculated? In our example, let's use simple numbers. Let's assume your city assessed your property value at $100,000, and let's assume your city's tax rate is 95 cents per 100 of the assessed value. We divide 100,000 by 100 to find out how many hundreds in 100,000. Well, of course, there are 1,000. So then we multiply the 1,000 by our tax rate of 95 cents. This gives us our annual tax bill of $950. This amount is normally divided by 12 and added to your monthly mortgage payment. If you don't have a mortgage, then you will pay in lump sums depending on your city or county's payment schedule. Property assessments are always looking back in time, sometimes as much as a year. This is why in a rising market, the assessed value is below the sold price of a property, and in a declining market, the assessed value of a property is higher than the sold price of a property. Because the assessments are like looking in the rearview mirror, you cannot accurately determine a property's current value by using a city assessment. In a falling market, I often see sellers pointing to their city assessments that are higher than the offers they are getting, trying to justify their price. In a rising market, these same sellers would never point out their lower city assessment. Buyers do the same thing by looking at the prospective property and trying to use the city assessment to justify an offer. Again, not a good number to determine the current value of property. People often ask, what is the city assessment for a property? There is no point to this question unless it is followed up by another question. What was the city assessment figure for last year and the year before that? The only useful purpose for tax-assessed data is to determine trends. In this example, we have a 6-year trend. This neighborhood had no value change in the first 2 years. The next year, there was a drop in value of 2%. In the next 3 years, the values are trending up. Looking at assessed value data, you can see the percentages of rising or falling values in an area over time. This helps you understand where the market is going. In the next video, we cover market value and the human nature that makes it so.